This is Gerald Overmars. There are certain letters that act actually as a sort of specific balance in your orientation toward things in general. Certain letters, certain sounds will show direction towards these kinds of balances, and there are sometimes letters used more often to direct you to that kind of perspective. That they almost tell you like, okay, here is this kind of balance, deal with it. And I have all the letters balanced out into a system which is a numerical system, which is a geometrical system, which can read in different ways. It's a system that tells you how the orientation is acting automatically into this kind of order, almost like you have numbers. This is a structure which is used how we make an order. Logically, we use left, right, up, down. There are certain things which are so logical that we don't even think about it, but even letters have that kind of balance that we deal with, and they are described with a resume on the right there, and they are also described in my book in several ways how it can be followed up in a rhythm that makes a logic during the balancing out of the even the consciousness that has been used in it. And there are several ways to describe them, but the balance and the structure remains the same. You have a geometrical, you have all kinds of ways to describe them. There are certain letters that have a special function. Also, sometimes in language, there are certain letters that are repeated. Or certain languages also repeat certain letters over and over again, as almost like that all the rest hangs around them. They give you immediately a signal. Okay, the full thing how we have to behave hangs around it. The full behaviorism that is expected how to behave hangs around it. A few letters in Chinese also, you can hear sometimes certain letters that are returning. And I will give you the positions of the letter L and the letter M, or the sound M, how it has been used more often, where its place is more or less in the system, and how it is the place is in its language. It's just part one, because I have to go deeper into it in some other time, but I already have it quickly resumed, what you can already find and understand from it from the letters alone. And if I just take out the first 9 letters in my system, you can derive them actually also to 9 places that are all about just having one focus. The other are about 2 focuses, and the last one is about 3 focuses. It's a different order. I'm not going to talk about these now, but the order where you want to keep just one straight focus before you, like you use that in space, is a way to look at certain centers that you use for your thinking, and you use the certainties. You try to have a certainty of your focus, but there are varieties, of course, like how certain am I, and how balanced is the certainty with what do I deal with during looking for my certainty. And there are also 9 variations which you can describe in various ways, but I will describe it like this now, just that you have just one center, one element in the center, or you deal with 2 centers, or you deal with 3 centers. And behind them is the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, which are not used all the time, but they exist there. And in a way, it is like the horizontal background for A, for instance, is just running. You are in the middle of it, and you don't really deal with it because it's just running horizontal. It's not doing anything. It's not changing anything. But you are in the middle of that horizontal focus, and you use that focus. That's more or less the A. And then you have the T and the K as well. The T about the performance with the vertical, the behaviorism, which is lying in the background of the K, but it's all about a focus, really straight focus. The other three letters, U, L, and B, are dealing actually with a place of in the horizontal, vertical, and diagonal, which is not exactly in the middle, but okay, it deals with it. That okay, but I will still try to find out a middle. It's try to follow it up. It's still using its own center, like in U, in L, and B. But the things are already going somewhere, or they land somewhere else, and so on. So it's not really perfectly what we expect of a certainty, but we follow the most certain path, which is our path in U, L, and B. So that's what we do with it, let's say. And with the C, M, and X, we're really going to see okay, but where is it going to? Because maybe the destination where it's going to, or where I see that it land to, where it is leading to, even though we're not really focusing that much on what is changing, but we see some things that are a bit different than we expect. And so we try to see not in the way as in A we use it, and we still use it in U. Now we just see, okay, what is the thing that we can still use? How do I have to look at it that I can keep my concentration on my focus in C, M, and X? No, but I was going to talk about the letter L. It has a specific place just in the middle of this whole system. So it is about the practicality of my focus. How can I keep on using it and keep on applying it and keep on following its performance and keep respecting its being, actually. And that's the reality of what... and it is also the reality of my vision here. The basics of the spatial frame is actually following what I think are certainties. It is very much about a vision that you start, and you start it in full body and recognition, and what you can recognize, what you can do with it, and so on. So that region, the first region, is really about your push forward of things that you think that are certain. So in L, what do we have? We have actually a performance of all what we think is still performing as we think it is certain, as how we see it, how we understand it, how we experience it, and so on, without need to change anything, and so on. We just follow it up in the way how we understand what we can do with it. It's the reality of what I can do with it, how I can perform with it, and how I notice these results that I can bring forward with it, with this mentality. That's in the middle of, you see in that scheme, it's exactly in the middle of that scheme. That's where the form, the material is taking shape. That's how things look like with or from my vision, what I understand and what I have made from it as well. When I would indeed use also the changes that are in the background, when I really say, okay, but let's follow where it really is going, because the L, like in the word love, for instance, love, you follow your love, but it will never be a perfect result as you expect it. You have, you perform this follow-up also with the L, perform and you follow it up, but it's always different as you expect it, because you follow up what you understand from it, what you sense from it. And so it's not really about facing reality and having a reality back and immediately have love and flowers. No, it's just doing its own thing. You follow here only what you think is what you understand and what you feel and what you sense. You follow that part. The L on its own is a bit blind, like in the L. But when you really see, okay, but where is it leading to? Where is it going to? You are going to see where the things are going, and that's the green arrow in the background. That's the timing aspect. That's all the changes themselves. If you really follow up these changes, you come very quickly in the letter N, and that's the letter N. So when I follow it really up in the context of where it will lead to, you land to follow it up a little bit better than just from your perspective alone, and you come into the letter N. The G to it, that makes up a new sound also that is not exactly in the system, makes up the sound ng, which is very often in Chinese, and the ng is actually the feedback process from what I have as a performance, the feedback process which is really going on, what is really going back, coming back. That's the N and the G. The G in the system, as you can see, it is on the first level, so it's still related with space. It's not only following up where it's going to, but also where it will land in the end, where it will result into in the end. That's what the G will perform towards the N. So the N is about that last phase of when you follow up something as how you see its reality. Now, what is actually the way how we can see letters coming into balance in the Chinese script? They always deal with a frame. That's the frame. It's almost like the yearly frame, and it gives you the performance, and it gives you also the reality, the sense of reality, that you can take something out after a process, and hopefully if you do that well, you have a good transformation, you have a good adaptation, and you have an adaptive nature of your own performance. Every character has a formula in its character that shows you what you need to do to have a very good forward move, and also have a very good adaptation so that you can take out something as well. Now, what's the position of the ng? I will come to that as well, because that's a sound which is used quite often as well. Now, the best thing, of course, what you should do is that for every word, in this case, every character, they are based upon a working field. That's the square working field where you deal with, and that you want to perform it in a practical way. And what's the most practical way to have in that order? It's that balanced order, of course, that you keep it in balance. That once you as you go towards your working field, you have what you put into it and get out of it. It's even best that you don't have to make too many effort and things, that the things are just in balance immediately is of course the most easy thing to do. If they are immediately in balance, you understand the thing, what you have on the working field and what you need for it and what you need to do for it. That's you know immediately, okay, when I have this reality, it will also have its performance of that reality. That's the and that character actually also exists, that balanced out working frame is of course the character for China, which is also referring to the middle. Of course, it's the middle path, it's the middle road, so with as little as effort as possible, which we try to perform, because we with a neutrality we can work with things at its best. Sometimes we have to adapt, to make an adaptation, we have to learn something, but that's a lot of effort. The best thing, of course, is if we know immediately the yin and yang, and have that balance and understand that balance at the end as well. That's the middle path. The L is of course the first performance. The L is is about that reality, that physical reality where we start from. If it's just performed, also there it will be performed, keeping it in the middle. You will also be able to sometimes to recognize sounds. Also, quite often will go to that middle point as well, even if you have it in English, middle point, because the performance of a physical reality also there, they are also in the middle, in that physical reality where the things are performing. They go into a certain form, and when they are really getting the idea of balance. Otherwise, the l can become out of balance very quickly if we're not following it up very carefully. But with the it's in balance. There is one word, li, which is the pru, which is we can also see a middle actually. You have li also as inside, also there. The middle is still available and visible. If you really go more with an emphasis of the one of the four sounds, more go to what do I need to do, what kind is like with the li, what kind of performance will I expect here, what can I expect. You have the element of transformation behind it a little bit. Is like, no, you have to perform it well, you have to perform it with your full strength, go towards what the power expresses itself, where it's going to from its own nature, and keep it strong, don't influence it, keep it in the middle as well, is still behind it, to have the performance with a good balance at the end. Li also to be able to stand on its own. Lai to come to something, to arrive to something. Again, you still see that middle focus. And the most important thing, or the most one of the most used words in a timing context as well, is le. I have already I had already a different video about that one. Le is not much more than the L sound where it is. It's in space. It is of course performing and changing in the background, but that's what you already make from it. You're not using the timing aspect yet, because that's what you do in the N. You're not using the timing aspect or reorganize that. No, it is already timed. It was already timed. It had its timing behind it. And it's a steady focus in L. It's that focus in physical space where it says this is the thing, how it already formed itself after a performance. The performance is already in that way past if you really go to associate it with time. Time is not the aspect that is needed to focus upon, because that's about a timing which you already no longer need at that moment, because it's just about the thing. How does this thing has a development at this moment? It's that completed action, a very important word that expresses that. Last word, if we would really deal with the whole process of the things that are forming, L, forming and forming in time as well, and with the whole feedback process that is involved with it, we have words like ling or ling. Ling will show you the process, the full process from L to N, so that also shows something that takes shape, and that you also take the consequences in it. So you have the feedback received in N, and that's what you follow up, and you follow that up well. And that's what that word actually also means. But just imagine now that that with the L, something is forming, but just imagine that when you really know the direction, N, how it is evolving, to where it is evolving and so on. So we have this vertical push, and you say, okay, I also follow that direction, so I want to have it contained, constrained even in my focus, that I'm really sure in what direction it is going, and with the you contain it actually, as you had it in the previous word. Maybe I can also predict a certain meaning of a word. With, for instance, when I have the vowel is about the kind of spatial focus that you have. If I have the vowel of A, for instance, I will create the word lang. A means actually a confirmation of my focus, a steady focus. So if I really can keep my focus steady, what will I get actually? Because then I have the noticeable vertical progress, in which A will be the confirmation, will have a steadiness, that it will be also the feedback and the direction that I know. They will work in that way together, so that you will know that the growth is not distracted. It will go into one direction. So what kind of words do we have then? And of course we will have the Chinese words, obviously, lang, there will be something. But I already know one of the words, which is a Dutch word, lang, which is almost, it's actually the same thing as the English word long, which has that steadiness. In the English word, it is more about timed frame. So you have the frame that can have varieties. So in that way you have certain measurements there that you try to check out. But in lang it is almost very clearly, no, I know it is going one direction. It has a certain length as well. There are some Chinese words which are lang, which is the going into that focus, which is really confirmed in and constrained. So because of the A, it is contained in itself. If you think about it, lang is like have a direction. Something goes into a direction. It could go into certain other directions as well, but when you keep it focused, that you know its direction and know also and realize its feedback, what it is, you can keep it also better focused. It is this certainty that the form is getting what you want that can also have other associations. The two lang words in Chinese are exactly like that. Lang is that noun prefix denoting a function or a status. Well, it means that something that has been formed there has a certain direction, has a certain form with its own direction, and that's okay. You say, okay, I know what I'm doing here, I know what is forming here, that's okay, I confirm it once again. The other word, lang, is associated here with that second part, which shows the reflection, the moon character. So it's always about a reflection. So it has a reflection elsewhere. When also something is formed, getting more clarity in its form as well, and you see that the form with its feedback, that you know what it's forming there very clearly, and you connect that with clearness, it is getting even more clearness. You can count on it. It's that counting on it which is here reflected. If it's about reflection with the sun, which is there as well, it's a very literal focus upon that center that can also be the center of light, of course, not just about the form, it can be anything, but it is confirmed again. So you have it certain, it goes in that direction, and it's even, and when it's in reflection, it's even more a reflection and even more confirmed that it is a reflection. Just like when it's a function, and this function gets a form, you all even confirm it once again. So I hope you more or less know what kind of function letter combinations can have and how they can be applied to a certain context, of course, because a lot of Chinese words are not just about the meaningfulness of letters and the direction that they show you. It's more like the secondary aspect of the balance. Or I can say that this is the kind of balance. It goes into the direction. I confirm it. It's confirmed, and I can have it extra and even more extra. It's there. I'm certain of it. That kind of reflection, and then it says where it is. So the most important thing will to be sure what it is about is with the Chinese script is always like, yeah, but in which context, and the character shows the context, because otherwise we don't know what it is. It's just a certain balance, almost abstract balance. Well, I hope you understand the balance now, where it's going to, why it is very straightforward, and you can count on it that it's straightforward. Yeah, maybe even express the word long or long even better, because these words exist as well in Dutch and in English. Long is the longs in English. That's the same thing. That form which I had before with zong had that transformation in process that said, okay, I keep my focus straight there. Also exists in the background in that long as well. There's a direction which is in this case with the letter O, and O is about processes and certain moments where the processes have a certain clarity in function. So there are certain moments that stand out. So it is a beginning. There's a process when it's really finalized. These kind of processes matter and are seen by following something up with O. The long, there is then in that way a process involved. That process, again with the letter L, goes into direction, could go in all direction, could go in all forms, could fill in all the forms and so on. But because of the ng, it is a process which is dependent, like in N, but it's dependent of something bigger, like with the G. But it's dependent in a way that you know it as a feedback, that it will come back to you and that you understand it, and that will be processed completely in a way that we can follow the process the whole time. And that's what the long is as an organ. It has that process behind it because it takes in air from that bigger space and takes it back in, and it follows that process, and it can count on it. It has its effect, like the effect that is produced by ng. The O gives it a process, the L gives it a form. Long, the English, which is a little bit longer O, it's a bit bigger O, also is about a process. So it is, while long in Dutch is just length, long is even it's even, you can also have it in a time frame actually, so it's that long as well. The time frame is a little bit more focused because of using the letter O. I have to see like how much is it actually used differently in English as in Dutch. I have to look that up. I don't know that by heart. I'm not sure if it really has that much of an influence, but the O does that. It follows the things up also in a process, within a process. So that's how long it is as you have it in a time process in that way. That is that embedded into that process which is expressed in this word. It should in fact not be honest to leave the English version out. You also have lung, of course. So okay, let's express it. I almost didn't want to do that, but the is the sound that goes to the smallest part as possible. but the written as an U, the U has a place in my system, in the system of order, and the system of order says that it is about material which is developing, and that you have a starting point with which material you want to go further. And it actually also says that things are evolving, but you start to look with your focus on where you know the things are evolving to something else, are growing and so on. So it's about a focus in two parts in which you follow mostly one part. It actually says with U also, I'm aware that things are in development as well. So it's not complete, it is completing itself and so on. So the lung compared to the long is, with the O, is the process. It's focusing upon the process. There's a whole process behind it. It's, you know, it's process of breathing. You have a bigger area to go to a smaller area, a different area. Here it focuses more on the physical object itself, not about the process itself. It's a physical object. And if you compare to the lungs, you can almost see it. So you have the U or the which is the reference point of where this process occurs, of where this process is appearing. Actually very dry, very almost like death material, not as the living material, but as the material in which something is happening, something is changing. The L is that straightforward focus, and the Ng is going from one region to the other. So like the breathing itself, it's still there, but it's the object of itself, of the process, rather the plain auger rather than the breathing. So as a form actually of the very direct form, and also this splitting into two parts, it still fits quite well with the lung organ as well, but it's really a focus upon that organ itself. Okay, I had a couple of associations already that shows you a way of thinking that bases itself a bit more upon the meaningfulness of letters, which can be used to learn another language as well, as I have hopefully shown you well in this video. Anyhow, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.